The biggest question people have right now is Pioneers of Pagonia the next Settlers? Well, the good news is there is a demo out there. You can just download on Steam for free and you can check it out yourself. That's exactly what I did. And that's what you were seeing here in the background from one of my live streams. Quick note, this is why you have to take up with my stupid face in the corner. Just ignore that. The gameplay is what is important, and more importantly, what I have to tell you. So, your question is Pioneers of Pagonia the next Settlers? And we will dive into this, but the TLDR I can give you here is welcome home. Yes, it is the Settlers, and it reminds me a lot of the old Settler games, which is very much needed, because the biggest review viewer-wise on my channel this year was the new Settler game. And it wasn't a good review. I had to basically rip the game apart. A game I have been playing back with a buddy of mine on the Amiga with Settlers 2. And we basically did put like 2 mice into the Amiga and then played it on the small screen in split screen. It was amazing, but also like tedious when you think about it nowadays. And now looking at the new Settlers, it's not really the Settlers anymore, isn't it? It's basically a game wearing the skin of the Settlers, has the Settler name in the title, but gameplay-wise has nothing to do with the Settlers. It's more an Age of Empires with some Settler graphics and some of the gameplay elements still lurking in the background, but that's it. And this is where the Pioneers, not the Settlers, are coming in. And man, when I started the game yesterday, when I was recording this, I like after a few minutes, I just had such a fat smile on my face, because everything I saw, everything I did just felt like the Settlers. The interface got updated, of course, to 2023, like some of the gameplay elements, it all felt like the Settlers. The moment you started to build roads, you were like, yeah, I remember this. This is like very important, and it feels really good. By the way, the road building is snappy as hell. I would wish to see this type of road building more in other games, because when you are looking at some other games, when it comes to road building, oh boy, so they did a pretty good job on that. But all in all, it's like you play this game and it just feels like you're coming home. Like, you know how I ended the stream? I ended the stream by baking my first bread. And if you have played any of the Settler games, you know how important that is for the Settler players. Now, you're probably watching this and think, wait a minute, Mo, I have never really played like Settler games. Yes, I know. If that is the case, I'm really sorry. This video is not for you. I will make a video later down the road when Early Access is coming out, where I go into the gameplay elements and will explain it more in broader terms. But this video is really for all the people who have been waiting to finally go back to the old Settler days. And so this video is for them. And a little bit for me, because I have been waiting too, and it just feels like the Settlers. Like when you were starting to build your woodworkers, right? You need the sawmill, you are starting to have your foresters, you have to provide the food, you have to get the tools in order, which, by the way, they did some pretty cool upgrades on how smart the game is. So let's talk about tool production. Let's say you need some axes, because that's what your woodworkers need, right? They need axes, so you need some resource like copper or iron. Then you have to like smelt it, and then you have to produce the axe. And of course, you can just go to the blacksmith, or, well, it's the tool maker to be more precise. You can just go to the tool maker and tell the tool maker, okay, already prepare 5 axes for me, because I know I will need them in just a few minutes. Or if you forgot about it, or you just don't know that you can do that, you can just wait till you build the woodworker or the woodcutter buildings, and then the game is smart enough to realize, oh, we don't have axes anymore. Well, I have the resources to actually produce those axes, so I will do that for you, right? It will give the order to the tool maker to actually create those axes. They also did some upgrades to like tutorial, like the game is giving you objectives, like which building you should build next. You can ignore that. If you are a veteran settler players and you remember like all the buildings and all the economy chains, you don't really need this. You can ignore this. You don't have to do it. But for people who have never played a settler game, this is really helpful to understand what the hell am I doing here? What are those buildings for? And in which order should I do it? And of course, the good old expanding your territory is back, that you are putting down a guard tower. Then you have some guards who have to get the stone resource, like you basically have your border as an item, and then they are slowly expanding your border. Now, what I have to say here is I haven't played any combat. In the demo, there is no combat whatsoever. And for the early access version of the game, they made it clear that they will have like bandits and thieves and all that, and some neutral factions, which can probably become bad at some point, but we don't really too much about how the whole like military expanse and military gameplay will work out, and we have to wait till that is happening in early access. So unfortunately, I will not be able to talk about fighting and the military in this game at all, and how it works and how deep it actually goes. So sorry for that, but it's not there yet, so I cannot just make shit up, right? So back to the game, regardless, if it just feels right, like you play it, you see the so-called Wusel factor they're doing, right, where you have like tons of people walking around, moving resources, building buildings, going for hunting. It's a joy to watch them work. It's a joy to just build up your little city. And yes, as per usual, like road building is super important because there can be traffic jams, so to speak. I had it happen that I opened up a new building and I had like 20 pioneers just lining up on the street to put their items in the new building. But the problem was that all the other workers were just waiting on the street, because they had to wait till their traffic jam basically disappeared. So what I had to do is rethink and build some more roads so that my people can like just use more roads and it doesn't get like that crowded on one road. And as I said, like this game is just, it feels like the Settlers. Yeah, there are differences. And there are definitely a few things people will agree on and people will not agree on. I've already seen some takes here and there, and that's fine. I mean, that's what the early access phase is also for, right? That changes can be made, but this feels like so much like a settler game. Wow, Mole, that sounds like you're really happy with the game, huh? Well, there are a few things. As I said, I am pretty much convinced they have to change for early access. Like one of them is building fields for your farms. That doesn't feel good at all. They have a very weird system there, and it doesn't feel good. It feels very micromanagey and doesn't feel as good as the rest. Another thing I realized, and I know this is a hot take, like this is a personal opinion, not really something which really needs change, but at the beginning of the game I made a mistake. I put a forester a little bit too close to my city because the foresters now have a huge range where they can operate in and put in new saplings into the ground. So he was a little bit too close to my city, and the forester immediately realized, oh, look at that. There is a room between the buildings. I can put some saplings down. And I was like, no, don't do that. Oh, no. Because you cannot just take a building and it will override the tree/sapling in that position. Right? The game doesn't allow that. You have to build a woodcutter, and you have to hope that those trees the forester just put down will be the trees the woodcutter is cutting down. Because, again, you cannot give them direct orders. This is not a RimWorld. Yeah, you can tell them to go into a general direction and cut things down, but it's still like pretty much you have to have luck that they are cutting down the right trees you need to build a building in that area, right? So what I would like to see is that at least saplings can be removed with the building you want to build. Big trees, I can understand, but the smaller trees, let me remove them, please, with the building, and not let me just wait here for 10 minutes or even more if I'm unlucky till somebody is finally removing the trees, right? So that was like one of my things. Like as I said, with the farms, they have to rework that. The roads could get a little bit of an update on finding like the shortest route around something. It's not perfect yet, but if you're listening to this, you probably go, wait, those are your complaints? That doesn't really sound like big deals. No, it isn't. That's my point. It totally isn't. And that's what makes me so excited about this game. I don't really have a lot of complaints about it. It feels like the old Settler games. Different. They're definitely trying to do their own approach. This is not the Settlers 2 or 3, the remake. That's not what it is. But it feels very close to it. Plus new ideas and quality of life updates you kind of expect in 2023. I highly recommend to check out the demo. I mean, it's free, right? And we will definitely be back when Early Access is coming out, because I'm really, really looking forward to finally have a Settlers game again. And as unfortunate as it sounds, this might be the end of the old Settler games as we know it. But if you have played the demo, and you have some ideas about the game and how you feel about it, please let me know down below in the comments. I'm glad to hear about that. But please keep in mind, keep it civilized, okay? With that said, thank you so much for watching. Also, don't forget, if you enjoyed it, leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I would appreciate that bigly. Again, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.